In this episode, I'll be shooting in the Redwood Forest and giving you some tips for great travel photography.
Adorama TV presents Exploring Photography with Mark Wallace, where you will learn innovative techniques on shooting a wide range of photography. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
Hi everybody, you're watching Adorama TV. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, I'm here in the Redwood Forest, and this is one of the places where my passion for photography really started. I would watch my sister take pictures in this grove of trees, and I was just amazed, and I thought I would love to do that. Well, I'm back, and I'm shooting again here. Now, one of the things about the Redwoods that's really amazing is because these things are so incredibly large, they cast shadows everywhere, and so it's very, very dark here. Even though it's the middle of the day, you wouldn't even know that. In fact, we have a lot of fog and cloud cover here in the northern coast of California. And so to shoot in the Redwoods, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a camera with a really wide-angle lens because it's almost impossible to see how gigantic these are. I want to get as much into my camera as I possibly can. Secondly, I am using a tripod. I'm using a really lightweight tripod because, well, we'll be hiking back here a few miles to get these shots. This is actually where they filmed Return of the Jedi. It's a really cool place to be. And the thing I'm looking for here is all this texture. I want to see the size of these redwoods, but I don't want to miss out on some of the other plants that are around here. We have some ferns. There are all kinds of little bugs and animals. We have huge mosquitoes that are eating us alive. But there's all kinds of details back here we don't want to miss. And so I'm packing light. So I have a nice Benro aluminum tripod. This is the A269. And I've got my Fuji X Pro 1. And we're going to be shooting back here. And as we shoot, I'll tell you exactly what we're doing. Well, to begin with, one of the things I really love about this tree here is that there is this almost phosphorescent green moss that's growing on the tree. That's really common here, and there's amazing texture, so I want to get that. If I tried to shoot this handheld, I just wouldn't get any pictures because there's just not enough light here to shoot handheld. It's really, really dark, even though it doesn't look like it. So I have my camera on a tripod. I'm going to swing this around, frame up my shot, and I'll spend a few moments getting all of this really awesome green moss and texture. The other thing I've done in my camera is I've set my film style to be Velvia, really, really highly saturated film look. And so I want to do that so I can really see this green and make it pop. So I'm going to start shooting, and I'll show you what I got. All right, one of the things that's really important to know is, when you buy a tripod for this type of work, make sure you get a tripod that has legs that are adjustable, independent of each other, some that can be kicked out and brought in, and lots of different movements. And again, I'm using a Benro A269, and this is an aluminum tripod. And the reason that you want to have a lot of adjustments is you notice that I have one leg that's really high, a couple that are sort of low. I'm on this weird incline here, and I'm also using a ball head so I can get everything leveled out really easily. And I'm using the virtual horizon on my camera to make sure everything is level. But if you don't have a tripod with lots of options like that, when it comes time to shoot out in the great outdoors, you might find yourself in trouble because you won't be able to get your shot exactly like you want it. So now that I have that set up, I'm going to shoot, again, more of this texture and color. Let's talk a little bit more about the light here in the Redwoods. As you can see, the sky is extremely bright, but here in the grove, it's not so bright. And so if I tried to shoot in this direction where I have these really massive, amazing trees, well, my exposure is not going to be very good because the dynamic range of my camera is just not going to capture that. So instead of shooting these large trees here with that bright sky, I'm going to come over here and shoot down this path, and you can see that it's all evenly illuminated because it's all in shadow. So that's the direction I want to go, and we'll get much better shots. Well, there are two other things I want to talk about as we're shooting here. The first is, my tripod is over here and I've got it set up. One of the mistakes that you can make as a photographer is to come in, set up a tripod, and then once you have that set, try to frame a shot. That's a big mistake because you're limiting yourself to the location of your tripod. A better thing to do is to grab your tripod and take your camera off of the tripod, look through the viewfinder of your camera and figure out exactly what it is you want to shoot. Get low, get high, turn your camera a little bit, do all kinds of things and find the shot that you want. Once you have that shot dialed in, grab your tripod, bring it to the location of your camera, and then lock it in and shoot. You'll have much better results. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is I am not Art Wolf. I am not an amazing scenic photographer. I know that. My forte is shooting people, and so really what I like to shoot in a location like this is to understand my skills and my skill level. I know I don't have the years of experience that it takes to do some of those Vincent Versace shots that I just really love. But one thing that I can do is document my travel and document the locations I see, and take those photos and throw them on a blog and really inform people about places to camp, things to see, things to do, things like that. And so one of the things that I noticed is as hikers were going through here, they were walking at normal speeds, but my camera's shutter speed was really, really slow. So what I was able to do was to take a shot on a tripod, slow down my shutter speed, and get this shot of these hikers walking through the redwoods. And I think it really shows a sense of place, a sense of people walking through a beautiful place and seeing things. So I've got a shot that's blurred and still all at the same time, and it looks pretty good. So know your strengths and you'll have much better shots. So now that we know those things, I'm going to start framing up my shots, putting my tripod where I need it to be, and shooting away. Let me talk quickly about the gear that I'm using, because you might think, oh, Mark's got the latest, greatest, awesome gear, and I do. It's really fun. I've got this Fuji X Pro 1 with a 16mm wide-angle lens on my Benro A269 tripod. But the news is I'm also shooting with a very old camera. This is my older Canon 1DS Mark II with the 16 to 35mm lens. And the nice thing is I bought a lot of my equipment. I buy a lot of my equipment used. Don't forget, Adorama has a used camera department. You can get some really nice gear at discounted prices, and so that's what I'm using. I'm using a previously owned camera and lens to shoot some additional things. Now, this is a really nice camera, and when it was first on the market, it was thousands of dollars more than it is now. So if you really want some high-end gear that's a little bit older, you can save a lot of money by going to Adorama Used. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna shoot some more of these awesome redwoods. One more thing I like to do out here when I'm shooting scenery like this is to use bracketing. And so what bracketing means is that I'm going to get a shot that I think is the correct exposure based on my camera's internal light meter, but I'm also going to overexpose just a bit and underexpose. That way, when I'm back in the studio and I have my computer, I'm looking at my shots, I know I have something I can use. And because I'm on a tripod, if I need to, I can put those shots together in an HDR image, and it'll be spectacular. So those are my pointers for shooting out in scenery like this. Make sure that you have great gear. Don't forget you can get used gear that's really affordable. Make sure you have a tripod that lets you adjust things. Make sure you visualize your shot, then bring your tripod in, and then also make sure you watch the light so you don't have dynamic range issues with a bright sky and a dark canopy that's covered up like this. So I'm going to shoot some more. Thanks so much for joining me in this episode. We've got a lot more to come this season on Adorama TV. Don't forget, you can subscribe by hit the subscribe button on YouTube or on iTunes, and you can get all of our awesome videos, including myself and other contributors like Bryan Peterson. He's awesome. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon.
Adorama TV is brought to you by Adorama, your best source for the equipment and knowledge you need. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 7 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, the next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. Check out the Adorama Rental Company for professional cameras, lighting, computers, and more. We'll help you make the best selection to match your needs while giving you the knowledge to achieve the best outcome from your rental. Adorama is your complete solution for equipment, printing, training, and more. Adorama, more than a camera store.
Can you hear that? I'm being attacked by an Ewok. Did you hear that? Oh my gosh.